Welcome back to Action Figure Obsession. It's Avian and Loaded, and a few more reflections on my toy hunt earlier today. The first of which is that it is just blowing my mind, and I am so delighted that I have both versions of the 2016 Wolf Cap Red Onslaught Wave Build-A-Figure Captain America to show you here. Couldn't be happier about this. Really, really pleased. Um, One of the things that I think I should mention is, if you watched my evolution of the modern Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America, I suppose I have to bring in this guy just for a second in talking about something approaching a classic Captain America, classic in quotes, because while he is not the classic Steve Rogers and he is more movie influenced than anything else, this 2014 Marvel Now Captain America does have a lot to offer in terms of being close to a classic Captain America. The hexagonal scale mail on his shoulders and chest, and the more military belt and shin guard, not shin guard, knee guards, knee pads, and the very movie influenced boots and gloves with the designs on them that is sculpted in, show that he is not truly a, you know, sort of traditional Jack Kirby based modern Captain America. So even if I had had him, I might have mentioned him in my evolution of the modern Hasbro Captain America videos, but I didn't. But I don't really think. You see that little spot of white there on his shield? There we go. Okay. Whew, boy, when you have an action figure obsession, the smallest things can just drive you nuts. Like the slight warping in his right leg, for example. Um, so I wouldn't have included him in my evolution of the modern Hasbro Marvel Legends comic book classic Captain America, because he doesn't quite fit the bill. But but it would be, I would be remiss to not mention that he doesn't have the janky ball jointed hips like all of the Hasbro Captain Americas before him did. So in a sense, although he was kind of an evolutionary dead end, he was only used for the repainted version of the Sam Wilson Falcon Captain America, which we have two different versions of: the Sam Wilson Falcon Cap, which uses a lot of the pieces from Marvel Now Captain America. This guy here, I think same boots, same gloves, same legs, probably same arms. Um, but other than being used as the Marvel Now Captain America and the Sam Wilson Captain America for the comic versions, uh, this guy with his tiny head and being relatively short, um, and not truly a classic Captain America, doesn't really fit in with what I was talking about in those evolution of how we got from the Wolf Cap here in 2016 to the Marvel vs. Capcom Gamerverse Captain America in 2025. And I do think if you're interested in Captain America and Marvel Legends Captain America, it's well worth watching. I mean, I'm not, it's not like it's well researched or anything, and I do kind of fumble around for some of the facts, but eventually I think I catch all the evolutionary stages if you watch part one and part two, in talking about how we got from this Red Onslaught Wave Captain America in 2016 all the way over to the Marvel vs. Capcom, the glorious 2025 Marvel vs. Capcom Captain America, and sort of all the intermediary evolutionary steps. Brought to you by, yes, sirree, Bob. The perfect beverage when you wake up and you don't know what the hell time it is and your brain is full of fuzz. That's it right there. um, yeah. So, yeah, check out that evolution, the five stages of evolution of the modern Hasbro Marvel Legends Captain America. Uh, I'd love to redo that sometime, a little more with a little more structure and a little more forethought. But I do stand by the ultimate conclusions that I drew in it. This 2016 um, Grim Reaper body mold, Captain America, the first time they put a Captain America on the Reaper body mold, we got quite a few. In addition to the 5 evolutionary steps, there were a couple of other steps along the way, including the Secret War concept art Captain America from the Secret War comic book. I don't think he ever actually appeared in this uniform in the comic. I do think that's his correct shield with the silver. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And the other stop along the way I don't have yet. But getting these, the second Red Onslaught Captain America in my collection, and also the Marvel Now Captain America in a single day, gives me hope that at some point I may find one of those 2017 retro Captain Americas, which was a repaint of this one right here, with a lighter blue and a typography for the scale mail on his chest and shoulders. And it's retro in more than just the retro card. It has a very retro look to it, a very retro design, with the tampographed scales and the lighter blue. It is still the same head sculpt, though. It is still essentially this same figure, just a lighter blue and with the tampography for the scales, which was also kind of an evolutionary dead end. We did see that again with one of the Loki figures. I think the retro Loki also had tampography scales on parts of his costume as a kind of retro throwback looking form of armor. So let's move these delightful Red Onslaught Wave wolf caps over here and center our attention for just a moment on something else that's somewhat delightful that I discovered in researching the Marvel Now era of action figures. I don't have as many of them as I had hoped, and I'm still getting kind of conflicting information. Even though I was actually reading Marvel Comics then. Again, I'm getting kind of conflicting search returns for the idea of the costumes of the Marvel Now characters. But these 3 I can confirm represent the Marvel Now versions of Thor and Nick Fury Jr. and the Marvel Now Captain America. Because I was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool to do a Marvel Now like Avengers display or just characters display? I was hoping that I had a Wolverine that would match the Marvel Now look, but I don't think that I do. I do have the Hot Claws one with the claws that I painted silver, and I think that is close, but it's not quite the uniform that he was wearing for the Marvel Now relaunch, which was something like, oh gosh, 8 years ago, something like that. 8 to 10 years ago. I'm not sure what the years encompassed in the Marvel. Marvel Now didn't last very long, but it was quite a splash and quite an effort that they made in sort of relaunching the Marvel Universe after a number of big events. The biggest, I think, being Jonathan Hickman's whole Secret Wars tribute series, whatever you want to call that. It wasn't the original Secret Wars, and it wasn't that Brian Michael Bendis written Secret War. It was its own thing, but it was a pretty line-wide crossover. As you can see, the Marvel Now Captain America is pretty short compared to Nick Fury Jr. I got to pull him forward, and I guess that's a little more even, but I know on screen he looks like that now. It looks like they're the same height, but Cap is still noticeably shorter to my naked eye here. And I always feel the need to prove that, my friends, because I just do. And there you have it. Marvel Now Captain America is super short, and that's fine. You know, everybody doesn't have to be the same height, but it just goes to show why that Captain America body was somewhat of an evolutionary dead end, and also, you know, a good use, a reuse of it for being for the Sam Wilson Falcon Captain America with the wings and all. It's because you can stick him on a flight stand, and once somebody's up on a flight stand, questions of scale start to matter just a little bit less. It's not quite as pressing a matter. You can fudge a lot when somebody's up on a flight stand. So this is definitely a Marvel Now Thor, Marvel Now Nick Fury Jr. Come on, come on. Yeah, I always got to do a pose, so it's going to knock somebody over. And the Marvel Now Captain America, which this guy is the second of the two. Well, actually, he came first chronologically, but he is the second of two figures that I've been talking about here, and the second of two of the figures that I picked up on my toy hunt in Vermont on Saturday, as I do this video, and it's still Saturday, so I don't know why I said it like that. Never mind. Getting everybody else out of the way here. Just to wrap things up with the two additions to my Captain America collection that came in today. As you know, I love Captain America, and I just don't have enough Captain Americas. I need more Captain Americas. More. And we could talk about that briefly. I'm not so good with the YouTube skills that I could throw in pictures after I record this video. At some point I'll learn how to do that, because I'm sure it's not as hard as I think it probably is right now with just a little bit of caffeine in my head. But that 2017 retro Captain America from the very first Marvel Superheroes vintage collection that they did with Captain America, Wolverine, the Punisher, Black Widow, the lighter blue Pizza Spider-Man, Captain America here, and Iron Man, the really, really short Iron Man that I guess would go well with really, really short Captain America here, but they are not really of the same era either. That was, I believe, the Neo Classic armor that they updated and re-released, upgraded in the Iron Man Retro line a couple of years ago. But still in all, and I do have to figure out now how I'm going to display these Captain Americas, because it's getting crazy. There's 1, 2 here, 3 wolf cap over there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 with zombie cap, 25 with the sky cycle. So there's about 25. I'm not even counting the captain, which there are 2 on the work table. And 25 Captain Americas. And the captain, part of the joke about the captain is that he at some point in the past probably was a version of Captain America, according to the allegations, the hints, and insinuations of Next Wave Agent of Hate, which is where the captain really took off and became a thing. And it's my kit-bashed Star Dash Man, which is built on the captain body. And then there's a third one of him in my G.I. Joe Classified, on my G.I. Joe Classified Jeep table. There's a captain in there going to war against Cobra, because that's just how we roll here in the toy room at Avian and Loaded Incorporated. Well, I think that's going to do it for this barely coherent look at my Marvel Now Captain America and my second now Red Onslaught Wave Build-A-Figure Captain America. And his I mean, these two are the same figure. I keep trying to explain that. It's just that one is a werewolf and the other one is Steve Rogers. Well, they're both Steve Rogers. This one is just a werewolf who happens to be Steve Rogers. But those straps are staying on pretty good, despite the fact that they are held on by nothing but gravity and hope. I saw a video that implied that the shield is supposed to hold them on tighter so they don't fall down. That is not true. The shield in his back does not peg in far enough to have any friction or effect on those goofy shoulder straps that just fall right off. And I guess I'm not going to glue them down on him. I really, when I got these two here on the far right, the one in the center, the Red Onslaught Build-A-Figure Wave one today, and the Marvel Now cap, it was with the thought, I showed you how I restored the shield for this werewolf cap that was already in my collection, and the idea was kind of to keep them nice, to keep them not minty fresh, because they're obviously out of the boxes, and I could have left them in the boxes, and I thought about that literally for like 3 seconds. But it's cap, and of course I'm not leaving them in the goddamn boxes. I mean, I have left the 12-inch cap in the box, but that's, at some point I may take them out. Oh, interestingly, by the way, this Marvel Now Captain America And this 12-inch Captain America from around the same time, if you see the hexagonal scale mail on them, they are based on the same costume design. Look at the belt, look at his belt buckle, look at his gloves, and then look at his belt buckle, and look at his gloves. They are based on the same era, the Marvel Now era of Captain America. So that's kind of cool to have the 12-inch version and the 6-inch version of the Marvel Now Captain America. That was another revelation that I had when I was going through and looking at old reviews and seeing them talk about the costumes and where they might have been seen somewhere else. So I guess the Marvel Now Iron Man is the gold, like the gold and charcoal gray, almost black armor. Which I did used to have that figure. He was super short too, and I got rid of him and didn't really care for that one that much. But of course, if I had known that was the Marvel Now one, and that someday I would be thinking about building a Marvel Now collection with the Marvel Now Thor and the Marvel Now Nick Fury Jr. and the Marvel Now Captain America, perhaps I would have acted differently. But regret is the cornerstone upon which an action figure obsession is built, and the cornerstone is always crumbling, my friends, and that's about all I can tell you about that. Thanks for joining me for this improvised and barely coherent edition of Action Figure Obsession. I do appreciate your time. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate it, give it a thumbs down. If you have any comments on Marvel Now, any suggestions for different looks that were happening in the Marvel Now era that maybe I could throw into a Marvel Now display with this Thor, this Nick Fury Jr., and this Marvel Now Captain America Jr. Look at his height. Look at his height. So short. He's a junior too. Yeah, leave a comment if you like, and I'll be sure to put a heart on it and respond to any questions or comments. Subscribe to the channel, and if you do, please ring the notification bell so you find out whenever I upload anything new here on Action Figure Obsession and the Avian and Loaded channel. Appreciate you stopping by, and remember, like Captain America, we all do it for the dream.